Hello YouTubers and welcome aboard. I am Noob Flyboy X and welcome back to F1 2018 Career Mode. This time it's the Russian Grand Prix. Coming off the back of a pretty good result in Singapore, we're hoping to carry that forward at a, I think a relatively similar track, but a bit wider. Starting off with the lap of the circuit, of course, here, as we do one of our programs. There's across the line, short run out of the final corner. First DRS zone coming up here. Bit of a bend in the front straightaway, as we can see there. Heading down into the first of the heavy braking zones, a very good passing opportunity here as we head into turn 3 and 4, I believe. Very long sweeping turn 3, I believe. Good passing opportunity here, if you can hold it on the power, I believe. Coming down here, the outside line, then switching to the inside of that corner is also a decent overtaking opportunity if you know what you're doing. Coming around here, lots of 90-degree corners, kind of similar also to Baku in a way. But the runoff areas are a bit more extensive, so you don't need to be quite as careful, but caution is still advised around here. Coming toward the back section of the track here in the middle sector. This is a tour basically of the facilities used for the Winter Games in Sochi. So there we go, through another 90-degree corner and onto the back straightaway in the second DRS zone here. This one is a very winding back straightaway. There's one corner to the left, or to the right rather, and then over to the left into a bit of a blind braking zone, again reminiscent of Singapore. Coming around through here, very technical section. Coming off that corner is a bit tricky because you're going to have one tire on the rumble strip and you won't be able to accelerate as well. Another 90-degree coming into the last section of the track here, where we finish off with another set of 90-degree corners. Into the double right-hander there. First of them, and the second one there, and there we are, across the line for a lap of the Russian Grand Prix circuit. So a relatively simple track in some ways, but also a fairly complex track with a few, braking zones that are a bit tricky, things you got to watch out for. So, with that out of the way, let's jump straight into qualifying here. Here at the end of Q1, actually this is the beginning of Q1 rather, we're doing quite well. We set the fastest time of that session and we easily move on in third place. Now at the end of Q2, cross the line, and we have a good position there as well. We have 10th, so we are into the final shootout in Q3. And now in Q3, we just went for one lap at the end. We qualify a comfortable 6th on the grid, but unfortunately we'll be starting from the back of the field because of engine penalties. We'll just have to hope the new parts make up for the poor start.
Welcome one and all to the Russian Grand Prix. We're just a stone's throw from the Georgian border here at Sochi as we get ready to begin the race that served up an absolute cracker back in 2015. A last lap collision between Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas sparked controversy in that race, so let's hope the racing is just as tight today. With that then, let's run through the grid order. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Esteban Ocon and Sainz, Magnussen, Alonso, Leclerc and Sergio Perez, Ericsson, Ricciardo, Lance Stroll and Gasly, Verstappen, Van Dorn, Brendan Hartley and Nico Hülkenberg, Grosjean and Iceman. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, be wary of the cars ahead braking suddenly into one. We could ruin our race if we hit them. Good luck.
So we're doing a one-stop strategy today from the ultra softs to the hyper softs. It's going to mean that we're going to have to conserve our tires a little bit since we're on the two softest compounds, but I think we're capable of that. Here we go to the grid, and it's 5 red lights ahead of the Russian Grand Prix, and there we go. We have a bit of wheel spin off the start, and it's a relatively slow getaway for us. At the back of the field, though, it's already not a big problem, just because that'll allow us to pick our line through the first couple corners as the rest of the field fights. There's the two Mercedes fighting with Kimi Raikkonen up there at the front. As we head down the inside, looking to make a pass on a couple cars, we get both the Haas and the Toro Rosso immediately, and then squabbling between the McLaren and the Renault allows us to move up further, and now we're in pursuit of the Toro Rosso just ahead of us as we head around that very long left-hand corner. There we go, up the inside again of our teammate and a few other cars, and we're neatly into 13th position. It was a good start for us. Coming here now to the middle sector of the lap. following Daniel Ricciardo. So Ricciardo looks like he'll be our first serious target, as he's gotten up to race pace already, just ahead of him Fernando Alonso. So we have our first 2 targets selected, and the people who we're going to be trying to pass here in the early stages of the race. On lap 2, we get our first good opportunity out of the front straightaway. Have a bit of contact there with Ricciardo, so I'll let him have that. Wasn't the best way to try to make an overtake anyway, so we'll just calm down, get resettled, and work on getting back to this. So we just have to keep calm behind him and work on closing in the gap. On lap 5, though, this is what the early stages of the race look like. We're unable to get past him. There's an opportunity that presents itself here as they fight, and Fernando Alonso has a major lockup. Unfortunately, they were too wide there next to each other, and I couldn't find a gap to make a pass. But Ricciardo has moved up a position, so now it's Fernando Alonso who I'm trying to fight here. Here's a replay of that incident there as Alonso goes very deep into the corner and allows Ricciardo past. Allows me to close right up to the back of them, though they had been pulling out a little bit of a gap to me. But I'm not able to make the overtake, as we can see. But again, this is what the early stages of our race look like. We're finding it difficult to get into a rhythm here, despite the fact that this is actually, for me, was a relatively easy circuit to drive. Finally, though, on lap 7, we're in a good position to have Fernando Alonso. We stay close to him through the final sector onto the front straightaway here on lap 8. We have the DRS, rich revs in the engine. Not really a whole lot of slipstream as we move back and forth, trying to fool him as to which way we're going to go. Very late on the brakes, right up to the back of Ricciardo, but there we've got Fernando Alonso. So we are making some progress at about the 1/3 way through this race, 1/3 mark. So next up will be Daniel Ricciardo here. We come right up to the back of him on lap 10. Bit of an unorthodox overtaking position that we're going to use for him here. We get pushed narrow off that corner, and that leaves us in a position to brake later and move up the inside of him on some of the last corners here. Even if we hadn't really got past him, we'd have gotten the position anyway, because Ricciardo now will dive into the pits, as are some of the other cars who started on the Hypersoft tires. Those are wearing out very quickly, and so we are inheriting a few positions here. Up next is our old rival Kevin Magnussen. On the front straightaway, we've stayed close to him. We've got slipstream, and we're already gaining before the DRS zone. In the DRS zone itself now, we get pushed very wide there and almost into the wall by Magnussen. But there we go, we've made it stick here as we have the DRS to help us. We get some top speed going into the corner, and we've got him. That was a brave maneuver, going around the outside of Kevin Magnussen, with him trying to push us wide, being very aggressive in his defense. We're into 3rd for a few seconds here, or for a few laps rather. Other people are starting to make their pit stops around us. I'm beginning to think that I want a different strategy though. Here we are in 2nd place now with Sebastian Vettel, the only car remaining ahead of us for the time being. Hamilton is coming up behind us now. He's made his pit stop. He's looking for a way past. He's in a different race compared to us, so there he goes. But I've made the decision to box this lap. It's just about the halfway point here in the race, but my Ultra Softs are starting to wear out. So I'm going to have to switch the strategy here. I want to be able to push in the race later. So I make the call to pit now. If I was going to pit onto Hypersofts, they would be very, very worn out by the end of the race. But I move the strategy to switch me to the soft tires, the hardest of the compounds available to me for this race. So we'll be able to use those tires. They may not be the good compound or the best race compound, but I will be able to push with them without fear of them wearing out. So at the end of that lap, there we go. It's time to come in for our strategy. We're just going to see if we can make this work, as now one of the Ferraris drives past as we go into the pit lane here. I just want to, take this easy, do a low maintenance tire that I can definitely push with if I want to. So there we go, a pit stop from the Williams guys, reliable as always. And we head back out into the race with our new yellow striped soft tires. We're going to have to see where we come out, because we'll probably be out of the points a little bit. So we'll have to fight back with these harder compound tires and just see how that works. The outlap on these tires, though, is very slow because it takes these harder compound tires longer to warm up, and we already have a threat coming in behind us. Driver behind.
Hulkenberg behind. Less than a second separate you. They're on fresh Ultra Softs. Their tyres are 3 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:39.1.
So Hulkenberg looking very aggressive here as we head onto the back straightaway. He's in the DRS zone here. We also have the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo behind us, a bit of fighting going on for a good passing opportunity on me. We hold it around the outside though, squeeze Hulkenberg a bit narrow, we go right to the edge of the track there. On the inside for the following corner, just hold him off there. Brake a little later from the inside line, and we've got him for the time being, but he is very aggressive in that Renault, looking to make a pass on me as soon as he can. On the next lap, in the back straightaway once again, he again has DRS, slipstream again, move off the racing line a little bit to try to break the toe, but he's already got enough momentum and here he comes around my outside into that corner. This time I'm able to hold him off a bit better because I had broken the toe just a bit earlier. On the front straightaway, the next lap is also a little bit of an issue here. He's got DRS again, so I'm having to defend rather hard against him just to hold on to what is 10th place and the last of the points-paying positions here. We have a good run off the first corner there, but Hulkenberg is still closing in the DRS zone. He gets right up to the back of us there, so we're going to have to keep defending from him for a while. Fortunately though, in not too long, only a few laps later on lap 18, our savior actually appears in the form of the young Monegasque driver in the Sauber behind us. Here we see Hulkenberg getting aggressive up my outside, but here comes Charles Leclerc as well. He gets an excellent run through that corner. The Red Bull just ahead of him is compromised, as is Hulkenberg from squabbling with me, and Leclerc sends it up the inside in that nice long corner, and there's me already a long ways up the road from the time lost during that fight. So thank you very much, Leclerc. I'm now out of DRS range for them, and I can concentrate on building a gap and closing in on the car in front of me, which is Fernando Alonso. If I can pass him again, I'll be up to 9th. I'll get 2 points. Now that's not the best finishing position, but at the moment I'm not really looking for a whole lot of points for the team. What I want is just to finish the race relatively well so I can get research points. Once again, we had that email from Singapore that I'm thinking of, wondering if we'll actually have a regulation change, and if we do, I'm going to want as many research points as possible just to make sure all of our upgrades can be moved to the car for the next season. That's what I want to focus on. But to do that, we've also got to finish well in this race, and that means passing Alonso. We've just got to be patient, and our patience is eventually rewarded, as on lap 24, we've caught up to him. We were closing in a little bit, pretty much every lap, so we just needed to be patient and wait for the opportunity to come to us with our superior pace. On the back straightaway here we have DRS, we're in the slipstream, closing in. We're not going to quite get close enough to make a dive on him. I probably could have if I was feeling aggressive, but I'm not. All I have to do is stay close to him from here. The front straightaway is not too far away. Start with the slipstream, go to the inside though. Bit of a bump with the wall, but we keep enough momentum that the DRS does the rest of the work for us. We've saved a bit of fuel, and we're now looking very good for the remaining 2 or 3 laps of the race. As long as we can hold Fernando Alonso behind, and our confidence is up, so we will be able to do that. So there we go. Looks like that will be our finishing position in 9th for the Russian Grand Prix. Here we are on the final lap. Kimi Räikkönen up ahead of us wins the Grand Prix. It's going to be a 1-2 for Ferrari, taking a bite out of Mercedes' very good lead in the championship. For us, 9th position it looks like, as we continue to try to hold off Fernando Alonso, who has been trying to fight back a little bit in the final lap here, but it's not going to be quite enough here. We've got the position as we head into the last 2 corners, so we're going to come away with 2 points and a number of research points for the team, which is really what I'm after here. It's been a pretty good race here in Russia, despite the bad start.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari, on the top step once more.
So we have an excellent day for Ferrari at the top of the podium and the second step. For us, it's a pretty good race. We want to keep upgrading the car so that we can eventually get ourselves onto the podium. But we need to first future-proof all of the upgrades that we've got so far, and then look at getting new ones for the rest of the season that we can also make sure that are able to be future-proofed before the season finale in Abu Dhabi. Looking pretty good though for that, as we hear this as well.
Now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Iceman. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
So a vote of confidence from Anthony Davidson as we finish up the race weekend in Russia. Up next will be an old and very classic circuit, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, the site of many an epic race, including one of the best races for, at the time he was one of my arch enemies in Formula One, but one of the all-time favorites now, Kimi Räikkönen's race back in 2005. We'll just have to see if we can live up to that excellent race as we head there ourselves. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and have a nice day.